Bye bye, Glam.
Let's go do some threshold running. Pre-run activation, what is it? Why should you do it? What do you do? What is it? Pre-run activation, when you go in the gym and you start some gym work, the second time you do a rep, it always feels easier than the first time. That's because you've activated the muscles. Why you should do it is because if you get the muscles activated before you go run, every single stride from that moment onwards is going to be slightly less, I'm going to use a word like destructive, but it's not. So if you go out the door and run without doing any form of activation, it probably takes 3 to 4 minutes to get into the run. That's not great for the body, but it's also not great for the psychology. So if you do a little bit of pre-run activation, instantly you feel better. Psychologically you feel better. Your first step, your first stride, your first few minutes in the run are going to feel better. That's exciting. The brain likes that. How you should do it, I'm going to show you now. I'm going to show you it really, really quickly, but you can, if you really want to, jump on board. I have a running masterclass. It's a running school. It has recovery, it has nutrition, it has psychology, it has strength conditioning, and it has running. In there you get to see 10, 15, 20-minute videos on stretching, foam rolling, pre-run activation, home mobility, home gym, stuff you can do for the psychology, everything. But I'll still show you a little bit now, and that'll be enough to kind of get you started before your next run. Okay, so I'm going to show you 5 exercises that you can do for pre-run activation. We have some calf walks, which we're up on our calves. We're keeping the body up nice and tall, chest high, breathing high, gets the lungs open, balls of the feet, getting your calves warmed up. Then we do some heel walks, which is the opposite. Instead of up on the toes, you're up on the heels. Great for the front of the shin. Now we've warmed up our calves, now we've warmed up our shins. Then we're going to go into some lunges. The walking lunges, you do what's called a round the world lunge. It covers every part of the lunge, but that gets the quads going, the hamstrings, the adductors, the glutes. Then we're going to drop down. We're going to do some glute bridges. And after we do the glute bridges, we're just going to do a little upper body swirl, which gets our upper body going, and we'll do a little bit of diaphragmatic breathing, which warms the diaphragm up. And at this point, you've pretty much targeted almost every muscle in the body. So I'm going to show you, you get Okay, diaphragmatic breathing. Breathe up as tall as you can. And then what you're looking to do is when you're at that top part, push the diaphragm down, but hold the breath. So you're at that top part, push the diaphragm down, then continue to take another breath in, push the diaphragm down, another breath in. If you do that 3 to 4 times before you go for your next run, you're gonna feel much better. Let's start some threshold, 4K warm up. This time I'm gonna do 8 times 1K, but number 3 and number 6 are gonna be slightly harder. We set the goal of sub 30 minutes before the end of the year, and I probably need to start pushing a little bit more than just threshold. Let's go. So warm-up's finished. I did 2 miles. When my heart rate's like 115 to 120, I just can't see that I'm building heaps of fitness. So not 4K, 2 miles. Now I'm gonna jump, well actually I'm gonna go pee, and then I'm gonna jump on the treadmill and start the threshold. Problem is, my hands are starting to sweat a lot and it's hard to get, there we go, that was pretty good. Okay, that should work pretty good. Look, 2.2, I'm happy with that. Now we can pump the speed back up again to 12. Okay, so that's the second harder rep finished. We'll take a quick lactate. Hopefully it'll only take me like 30 seconds, but I might have to start. Okay, that has sweat in it. Let's go, baby. Sweat. Better. 2.9. Okay, so, oh, I should pause that music, it's quite noisy. That's job done. That's number 8. The lactate now should be back down towards 2. Good, I don't have to prick myself again. I think that's a used one. So hopefully it's back down towards 2. Let's see. Ah, come on. There we go. All right, so in the next 15 seconds before this comes up, the purpose of that was to kind of nudge the threshold along enough, a little bit, but I didn't go to like 12.5 miles per hour, 13, because that would have put the lactate up too much. Pushing it to 12 and pushing the lactate to 3, that was good. As you can see, the lactate came back down to 1.9, and so I might have been able to go at 11.5 miles per hour and then maybe 12.2, 12.3, but actually I probably nailed that. That's exactly what you wanted. I kind of wanted the lactate to go to 3.54 on the quicker one, But the danger, because I've just came back from that little bit of illness and because I haven't been training as much, once it creeps up beyond 3.54, you might find it wouldn't have came back to 1.92, which is really what we were looking for. I'm gonna be confusing people with lactates, but think the lower the number, the better. What the body does is, we talk about threshold, we talked about it a little bit on one of the previous episodes, but basically, think of threshold like, honestly, this is gonna sound ridiculous, but think of threshold like your spending limit on the bank, right? And once you start to go above a certain amount, once you start to spend a little bit more than you can afford, you start to run into trouble. It's the exact same with lactate and threshold. Once you start to go above 3.5, 4 millimoles, you start to run into trouble. You start to run into heavy legs, you start to run into the body starting to shut down. And so if you're looking at a number below 2, you can probably run at that for about 2 hours. If you're starting to move to 3.54, then you're probably looking at about 1 hour. As you go above 4, the speed barely needs to increase, and that lactate will just start to go higher and higher. And so I might have went today to 12.5 miles per hour, 13, and all of a sudden I'm at 5, 6, 7, and then how long you can sustain that number isn't very long. So instead of being 2 hours at 2 millimoles, 1 hour at 3 to 4 millimoles, all of a sudden at 6, 7, 8, you're looking at, could be 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 5 minutes, etc., etc. It really starts to bite. And so why training at threshold and why improving that threshold is so important is because if you can run comfortably at a quicker speed than other people and your 1 hour pace is perhaps quicker than their 10K, 5K, of course it's a good area to work on. It's that area that you go from being just in control to starting to feel a little bit out of control. I called it before, that 3 to 4 word answer. Yes, coach, I think I'm doing okay. That's when you're in a good place. No, coach, I'm knackered, not in control. Tip of the day, go out and practice. Go out and try to do a 45 to 50 minute run, and as you start, the only goal of the run is to get slowly, progressively faster. So it doesn't matter if you have to walk at the start, just make sure that your last 4 to 5 minutes are the quickest of the run. And as you're going along, look down at your Garmin, you can look at your heart rate, you can look at your speed, and you can start to think, I don't have a lactometer, but where do I think it would be? So when you're walking and when you're jogging, it's probably going to be at 1. But as you get into the run and as you start to pick up the pace, start to think about, can I still hold a conversation? Where would my lactate be at? Where would my effort level be at? And as you go, start to make a note, where's my body at? People nowadays, they're relying way too much on the Garmin's, way too much on I don't know what the heart rate says, what the Garmin's saying, what's my speed saying. People nowadays allow speed to tell them how long they can run at that for, rather than effort. Start to get in touch with your body, start to get in touch with effort, start to know your body. And once you start to know your body, Garmin's are useful, these sports watches are useful, heart rate's useful, but you need to be better in control. You need to be the one that knows, am I pushing too hard? Should I hold back a bit? Is this my half marathon effort? Is this my marathon effort? Start to know your efforts. It's going to change your running completely.